ChatGPT, it comes from OpenAI, a research lab that set out to build AI safely and make it broadly available. When it launched in late 2022, it took off almost instantly, hitting 1 million users in just 5 days and becoming one of the fastest growing consumer apps ever. What really stood out was how natural it felt to use. You could ask it to write something, explain a concept, summarize information, brainstorm ideas, or even debug code, and the responses felt less like search results and more like you were talking to someone who actually knew what they were doing. Under the hood, it runs on large language models starting with GPT 3.5, then moving to GPT-4, trained on massive amounts of text. The free version is available to basically anyone with an internet connection, which is a big reason it spread so quickly. These days, people use it for all kinds of things: studying, work, coding, content creation. Its biggest advantage is how flexible it is. It's not built for just one task. It can handle a bit of everything, well enough to make it the go-to starting point for anyone trying to figure out what AI can actually do in everyday life. Claude. Anthropic built Claude with a specific priority in mind: safety and reliability. It was founded by former OpenAI researchers who wanted to take a more cautious, research-first approach to AI, and Claude really reflects that mindset. In practice, it tends to give answers that feel more careful and considered. It's less likely to jump to conclusions or generate something misleading, and it often tries to acknowledge uncertainty instead of just sounding confident for the sake of it. One thing that really sets Claude apart is how well it handles long documents. It can work through much larger chunks of text than a lot of other tools, which makes it especially useful for things like summarizing reports, reviewing contracts, or breaking down dense material in a single pass. People also notice the tone it often comes across as a bit more nuanced and natural, especially in longer pieces of writing. Anthropic doesn't really position Claude as just another chatbot. It's meant to feel like a more trustworthy assistant, something that's trying to be accurate and thoughtful, not just fast. So if you care about AI that feels measured and deliberate, especially for more complex or high-stakes work, Claude tends to stand out. Jasper. Jasper was already a big name in AI writing before ChatGPT pushed the whole space into the mainstream. From the start, it's been built with a pretty specific audience in mind: marketing teams and content creators, and that focus still defines how it works today. Instead of just dropping you into a blank chat, Jasper is built around templates. These are structured workflows for things like blog posts, product descriptions, ad copy, email subject lines, or social media content. So rather than figuring everything out from scratch, you plug in details about your brand, your audience, and your goal, and it generates something that fits that format. It also leans heavily into consistency. There's a brand voice feature that lets teams define how their company sounds, so everything it produces stays aligned, even if multiple people are working on the same content. If you're writing solo, that might feel like a bit of extra setup, but for teams pushing out content at scale, it's actually a big advantage. Over time, Jasper has grown beyond just writing. It now integrates with a bunch of common marketing tools, so it fits into a broader workflow instead of sitting off to the side as a standalone tool. CopyAI. The name tells you exactly what it was built for. It was built for one thing: writing short-form marketing copy that actually gets people to take action. We're talking ad headlines, product descriptions, taglines, cold email openers, social captions, all the stuff where you've got a few seconds to grab attention or you lose it. From the beginning, the big appeal was how easy it felt to use. You didn't need to learn prompting or think too hard about structure. You just picked a format, dropped in a bit of info about your product or service, and it gave you multiple options to work with. No blank page, no overthinking. Over time, it's added more features, longer form content, some workflow automation, but at its core, it's still about conversion-focused writing, not just something that sounds nice, but something that's actually meant to perform. And for e-commerce brands or growth teams, that difference is kind of everything. Writesonic. It lives in the same general category as Jasper and CopyAI, but it leans hard into speed and versatility. The idea is simple: cover a lot of ground and do it fast. You can use it for quick ad copy, full blog posts, and pretty much everything in between without switching tools. One of its standout features is Writesonic, a chat-style interface similar to ChatGPT, but with real-time web access. That means it can pull in up-to-date information instead of relying purely on what it was trained on. So if you're working with anything time-sensitive, news, trends, recent events, it has a clear edge there. It also puts a lot of emphasis on SEO. The platform includes tools designed to help structure content in ways that search engines are more likely to pick up, which is a big deal if you're writing to rank, not just to read. Overall, Writesonic isn't trying to be the smartest tool in the room. It's aiming to be fast, practical, and flexible enough to handle most writing tasks without overcomplicating things. For bloggers, content marketers, or agencies that need volume and decent quality on a deadline, that's exactly the point. Notion. Started out as a simple note-taking and project management app, but it didn't stay in that box for long. Over time, it turned into a full workspace where people run pretty much everything. Personal notes, team docs, company wikis, project trackers, all in one place. The core idea behind Notion is its block system. Every piece of content, whether it's text, a table, a checklist, or an image, is a block. You can move things around, nest them, restructure entire pages without friction. That flexibility is a big reason it clicked with people who felt boxed in by more rigid tools. When Notion added AI, it didn't feel like a separate feature you had to go out of your way to use. It's built directly into the workspace. You can summarize notes, rewrite content, brainstorm ideas, or fill out templates right where you're already working. For teams that are already deep into Notion, this matters a lot. You're not jumping between tools or copy-pasting content back and forth. The AI is just there, inside your workflow, helping out without slowing you down. Google Gemini. Gemini comes out of a company that's been organizing the internet for decades, and you can feel that influence in how it works. Gemini isn't just one tool, it's a whole family of AI models, plus the assistant built on top of them. Where it really stands out is its connection to Google's ecosystem. It plugs into Gmail, Docs, Drive, Maps, and the rest of Google Workspace in a way that feels pretty seamless if you're already using those tools every day. Instead of being something separate, it fits into what you're already doing. It also leans on Google's search infrastructure, which gives it an edge when it comes to current, real-world information. It's not limited to static training data, so it can surface more up-to-date answers when that actually matters. Gemini is also multimodal, so it can work with text, images, and other formats in the same flow. And because Google is rolling it out across so many of its products, a lot of people end up using it without even actively choosing it. If your work already lives inside Google's ecosystem, that tight integration is the real advantage. It's hard for other tools to match that level of built-in access. Rytr. It stands out in a pretty crowded space for one simple reason. It's cheap. While a lot of AI writing tools lean toward businesses with bigger budgets, Rytr went the other way and focused on individuals. Freelancers, students, solo creators, people who just want help writing without paying a serious monthly fee. The way it works is straightforward. You pick a use case, choose a tone, add a short description, and it generates something you can work with. No steep learning curve, no complex setup. It covers the basics well enough. Emails, blog sections, product descriptions, bios, social posts, all the common stuff. But it's not trying to compete with the more advanced tools when it comes to depth or nuance, and that's kind of the point. What you're getting is a low-friction entry into AI writing. If you just need help getting unstuck, writing a few things each week, or speeding up simple tasks, Rytr does the job without costing much or demanding a lot of time to figure out.